All right, so we're diving deep today into a market that powers, well, I mean, pretty much everything.
It does.
The global LV MV switchgear industry,
Yeah.
low voltage and medium voltage, that is.
Yeah.
You can think of switchgear as like
Yeah.
the unsung heroes, really,
They are.
of our electrical systems, right?
Yep.
They control and protect the flow of power.
That's right.
We've got a really detailed report on this, and what we want to do is like pull out the important stuff, the
Right.
stuff you need to know
Absolutely.
about this really significant sector.
Yeah. And it is significant.
Yeah.
By 2025, we're looking at a global market estimated at USD 59.62 billion.
That's huge.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's projected to climb even higher
Oh, wow.
to USD 92.89 billion by 2033.
Okay.
So that's a compound annual growth rate, CAGR,
right.
of 5.70%.
Okay.
Between 2025 and 2033.
We're not just talking about just like steady,
No, we're talking
a real surge.
Yeah, a real surge.
Exactly. Primarily driven by, the increasing global demand for electricity.
Sure.
Which makes sense, right? More people living in cities, industries growing
Yeah.
all over the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So our sources, they break down this market across the globe.
Yep.
North America, Europe,
Yep.
APAC,
right.
South America, the Middle East, and Africa.
Okay.
So before we get into all that, can you just give us the
sure.
overall time frame context of this report?
Absolutely. So the report's using 2024 as its baseline for all its calculations.
Okay.
Looks back at historical data from 2021 to 2024. Gives us an estimate for 2025.
Okay.
And then forecasts out to 2033.
So it's pretty comprehensive then.
It is. And what's also interesting...
This information was updated just recently in February 2025.
Oh, wow.
So we're looking at the latest.
So it's super up to date.
Very up to date.
Okay, great. So let's get into the regional specifics now.
Okay.
I think it's always interesting to see how different parts of the world are kind of contributing to these global trends,
Right, right.
So let's start with North America.
All right, North America. So in 2025, the market size is projected at USD 22.06 billion.
Okay.
With a CAGR of 4.2% annually from 2025 to 2033. But what's really fascinating here is that North America is currently holding the largest market share. Over 40%.
Wow.
Of the global market.
So what does that tell us then?
Well, I think it suggests a mature market.
Okay.
One that's probably focused on upgrades and replacements. Favoring, solutions that can enhance efficiency and integrate with existing smart grid initiatives.
Sure.
Unlike, you see the greenfield development that's driving growth in APAC.
Right, right.
So it's a bit different.
Different focus.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. And if we look at the individual countries within North America, the U.S. market is estimated at USD 17.4 billion in 2025, with a projected CGR of 4.0%. Canada is looking at 2.65 billion, with a slightly higher growth rate of 5.0%.
That's right.
And Mexico is at USD 2.01 billion. With a 4.7% growth rate.
Exactly.
So it's pretty consistent.
Yeah, consistent growth across the continent.
So what's fueling this growth?
There are quite a few factors. First, we're seeing, a significant push towards grid modernization.
Okay,
So basically upgrading our existing electricity infrastructure with newer technologies. To make it more, efficient and reliable.
Reliable, right.
Also the increasing integration of renewables. Like solar and wind. They play a crucial role, too.
Of course,
The need for reliable power distribution is fundamental. The deployment of smart grids, the ever-expanding data centers, and stringent safety and energy efficiency standards are all key drivers.
Of course,
And we can't forget the growing infrastructure for electric vehicles and the rise of decentralized power generation.
So power being generated closer to where it's used.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's cross the pond now. Head over to Europe.
Right, Europe.
Oh, what's going on there?
So another major player. Projected size of USD 17.29 billion in 2025. Holding over 30% of the global market share.
They're right up there with North America.
They are. Very close.
Yeah.
The overall growth rate expected to be 4.8% annually from 2025 to 2033.
Gotcha. So, again, we're seeing kind of different growth patterns within Europe as well.
Exactly.
So the UK market, for instance, estimated at USD 2.90 billion with a healthy 5.6% annual growth, largely because of investments in renewables.
Right.
France is at USD 1.59 billion with a 4.0% growth rate, while Germany, I mean, huge industrial force.
Absolutely.
They're looking at USD 3.42 billion.
That's right.
And a 5.0% growth rate, driven by automation in manufacturing and expansion of data center infrastructure.
Precisely. And there are other significant markets across Europe, too, each with their own story.
Right.
Italy at 4.2%, Russia at 3.8%, Spain at 3.9%, Sweden at 4.9%, Denmark at 4.6%,
Gotcha.
Switzerland at 4.4%.
Wow.
And even Luxembourg, showing strong growth at 5.1%. The rest of Europe, collectively projected at a 3.5% annual growth rate.
So it seems like while North America currently has the edge, Europe's a close second.
Very close.
What's noteworthy about Europe?
Well, I think in the bigger picture, Europe's influence is really linked to their developing electric and hybrid vehicles. And this leadership naturally creates a demand for advanced switchgear.
Yeah, to support all that.
Exactly, for the vehicles themselves and for the charging infrastructure.
Of course, the charging infrastructure. Okay, so let's talk about the region that everyone's talking about.
The one with the rapid expansion, APAC.
APAC, exactly. Give us the numbers there.
All right, so APAC is the fastest growing region in 2025. The estimated market size is USD 14.31 billion. Giving it around a 23% share of the global market.
So they're catching up.
They are. The projected CGR from 2025 to 2033 is a remarkable 8.4%.
That's huge.
It is remarkable. And it signifies not just expansion, but potential future dominance in switchgear demand.
So what does this mean for the global players?
I think it means they need to be strategic. They need to prioritize investments and partnerships in this region.
In this region, 8.4%. That's amazing.
It is. It really highlights the dynamism of that part of the world.
And, I mean, China obviously has a substantial presence there.
They do, with a market size of USD 6.01 billion and a 7.9% annual growth rate, fueled largely by their expanding renewable energy projects.
Of course. But it's not just China, right?
No, not at all. We're seeing strong performance across the region. Japan at 6.9%, South Korea at 7.5%, and notably India boasts the highest growth rate.
Wow.
At a substantial 10.3%.
10.3, wow.
Australia is looking at 7.7%. Singapore at 8.7%. Taiwan at 8.2%. Southeast Asia collectively at 9.2%. And the rest of APAC at 8.2%.
It's a real hub of activity.
A lot happening there.
So what are the factors then that are driving?
It's multifaceted, but we can point to a few key things. We have rapid industrialization and urbanization happening across many APAC countries.
Leading to, an increasing demand for power infrastructure.
Exactly.
And then there are the significant investments being made in renewables and the development of smart grids, government initiatives focused on increasing access to electricity are also a major factor.
Of course,
You also have the growing adoption of electric vehicles, the rise of industrial automation, and significant construction activities.
So it's a lot of things coming together.
It is, it's a combination of factors, all pointing toward high growth and demand.
It all makes sense. Okay, so let's move on now. It's South America.
Right, South America.
What do we got there?
So they have a smaller share of the global market currently. Just over 5%. With an estimated market size of USD 2.27 billion in 2025.
Okay, but still, it's still growth. It's still demonstrating growth.
Yeah.
with a projected CAGR of 6.4%.
Okay.
From 2025 to 2033.
So healthy growth.
Yeah, healthy growth.
And Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil stands out with a market size of USD 0.97 billion and a strong 7.0% CAGR.
Okay.
Again, investments in renewable energy playing a significant role.
Of course, of course. And we have other key markets in the region as well.
Like Argentina with a 7.3% CAGR.
Okay.
Colombia at 6.2%. Peru at 6.6%.
Yeah.
Chile at 6.7%.
Okay.
And the rest of South America growing at a respectable 5.5%.
So even though the overall market share is smaller
compared to other regions.
Yeah. There's still a lot of potential there.
There is.
What's driving that?
Well, it's similar to APAC.
Okay.
We see industrialization, urbanization as key drivers.
Makes sense.
Expansion of renewables is also leading to,
increased electricity demand overall. Yeah. Governments are investing in modernizing their power grids and integrating smart grid tech.
Right.
Additionally, growth in data centers, mining and oil and gas is contributing to the need for reliable LV MV switchgear.
Okay, cool. So let's move on to the Middle East now.
All right, Middle East.
What's happening there?
So they account for around 2% of the global market.
Okay.
With an estimated size of USD 2.38 billion in 2025.
Okay.
The projected CAGR is a solid 7.0%.
This is pretty good.
Yeah, good growth.
And in terms of the specific countries, we have Qatar with 6.5% annual growth. Yeah. Saudi Arabia showing a robust 7.3%.
Strong.
Turkey at 7.6%.
Yeah.
The UAE at 7.5%, Egypt at 6.8%, and the rest of the Middle East collectively growing at 6.2%. So they fairly consistent, pretty consistent growth across the region.
What's driving this then?
Well, we're seeing rapid urbanization and industrial expansion.
Makes sense.
Which, of course, leads to greater electricity demand.
Right.
They've also got large-scale infrastructure development, including smart cities and investments in renewables.
Sure.
Government initiatives focused on modernizing the grid are key factors. And then, of course, the oil and gas sector
of course,
is a significant contributor.
Always important.
Yes.
Okay, so last but not least, let's look at Africa.
Okay, Africa.
What's the situation there?
So currently they hold around 1% of the global market share with an estimated market size of USD 1.31 billion in 2025.
Right.
Projected CAGR is 6.0%.
Oh, okay.
From 2025 to 2033.
So it's still growing.
Still progress and expansion happening.
And the key markets within Africa.
Nigeria is showing an annual growth of 6.2%.
Okay.
South Africa at 6.9%. And the rest of Africa projected to grow at 5.2%.
So what's fueling this growth?
Well, it mirrors some of the trends we've seen elsewhere.
Yeah.
Rapid urbanization, industrial expansion.
Yeah.
There's also a significant push to increase access to electricity across the continent. Governments are investing in power infrastructure, including bringing power to rural areas and developing smart grid technologies.
Sure.
Renewable energy projects are also on the rise. And the growth in mining and manufacturing is adding to that demand.
Right. So we've seen how the market breaks down geographically.
Right.
Now let's look at the specific types of switchgear.
And who's using them.
Sounds good.
So first, voltage type.
Okay, voltage type. So according to the report, the 6 kV, 15 kV voltage range is likely to remain dominant in the LV MV switchgear market.
Why is that?
Well, it's because it's widely used in industrial, commercial, and utility applications for medium voltage power distribution.
So it's kind of like a workhorse in that space.
Yeah, it strikes a balance between handling significant power loads and being manageable for a wide array of applications, especially in emerging markets.
What about the fastest growing segment?
So the fastest growing segment is the 28 kV, 40 kV.
Okay, and why is that one growing so fast?
It's due to the increasing demand for medium voltage distribution in industrial, commercial, and renewable energy projects. This voltage range is particularly suited for
expanding power grids, developing smart substations, and integrating decentralized energy systems. Africa is a good example where infrastructure development and electrification initiatives are driving adoption in both urban and rural power networks.
So let's look at the market through the lens of components now.
All right, components.
What are the key segments there?
So in terms of components, circuit breakers currently hold the largest share.
Why is that?
Well, it's because of their superior protection, reliability, and automation capabilities in power distribution.
So they're essential.
They are. They offer efficient fault detection, rapid disconnection, and enhanced safety compared to traditional fuses. And with the increasing demand for smart grids, industrial automation, and renewables integration, advanced vacuum, SF6, and hybrid circuit breakers are being adopted, which is fueling this segment's growth.
So circuit breakers, crucial for safety and efficiency. What about the components segment? That's seeing the fastest expansion.
So that would be the relays segment.
Relays.
Their growth is driven by their critical role in circuit protection, automation, and overall grid stability.
So they're like they're silent guardians.
Behind the scenes.
Keeping everything running smoothly.
Exactly.
And what's driving their growth?
So the increasing adoption of smart grids, renewables integration, and the rise of industrial automation are all driving demand for digital and microprocessor-based relays.
So they're getting smarter.
They are much more sophisticated. Their ability to improve
fault detection, enable remote monitoring, and enhance system reliability is really what's accelerating their growth.
It all makes sense. Okay, so let's move on to insulation types.
Insulation.
What's the breakdown there?
So when it comes to insulation, air-insulated switchgear, or AIS, currently holds the largest market share.
Why is that?
This is mainly due to its cost effectiveness, reliability, and relative ease of maintenance compared to gas-insulated alternatives. It's also got robust performance in various environmental conditions.
So it's just more practical.
It's practical, and it's a go-to choice for utilities, industrial facilities, and renewable energy projects.
Makes sense.
And then the ongoing electrification initiatives and grid expansion in developing regions
continue to drive demand.
So AIS is the current leader
It is
because of practicality and cost. What about the insulation type that's growing the fastest?
So that would be gas-insulated switchgear.
So GIS.
Or GIS,
Why is that one growing so fast?
Well, its rapid growth is attributed to its compact size, high reliability, and superior insulation properties.
What's more advanced?
It is, It uses a special gas for insulation, which allows for more compact designs compared to traditional air-insulated systems.
So it's better suited for certain applications?
It is, particularly urban areas, industrial plants, and renewable energy projects where space is limited and you need efficient, low-maintenance solutions.
It's more efficient.
It is. And GIS is also well-suited for supporting smart grid integration and enhances overall operational safety.
So space efficiency and reliability are key in those applications.
Essential.
Okay, so let's move on now to the installation environment. Indoor versus outdoor.
Okay, so for installation environment, the indoor segment currently holds the largest market share.